Oh, yes. In three, two, one, I am live. Hello, hello, and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. We are doing a live stream today because we have managed to, get things that will help us live stream because we haven't done this in a while. And I thought, you know what, today is the day that we would do a live stream again because, well, why not? So, welcome, guys. The title is self-explanatory. Kaizer Chiefs are linked with Tashreeq Matthews, and I want us to go through his stats. I also want us to look at other players, a list, a very long list, who are linked with Kaizer Chiefs. And if I'm saying a list, I'm not here. I'm talking about a lot of people because yeah, it's a lot of them, and I want this to be an open conversation. All these names that are here, we'll talk about them, and then you guys will tell me what you think about each of the players or each of the players who are in this link and in this list, and then we're just going to look at who actually fits the style. And I see abantu sebejoinile. Tsepiso is saying Khosi, Usiandavez is saying Pilo Puti, awe guys. Welcome. So yeah, the first name vele on this long list, because it's not just to Tashreeq Matthews. There are a lot of other players who are also in this list, and I'm opening the list here. But let's start with the simple things, the things that we do my live streams, which is we obviously have to like the video so that more people can join us as we are streaming. So yeah, do the things. Jay-Z Tsipe is saying we're here. Robert is saying my brother, how's it? I'm good, guys. Yo, you know what? I have to tell you this. I actually enjoy doing live streams more than recording videos, because when I am doing live streams, what ends up happening is that I can interact with you guys like live instead of actually like waiting for comments. It's okay to read comments, but I prefer talking like you guys like this. And there are some people who have also been talking about me having live streams because they want us to engage. But really, I like to engage. So keep the engagement going. Keep the engagement going. Let's talk. So now with Tashreeq Matthews, I will tell you with regards to this guy, he's a left winger. He's 23. He's currently playing in Sweden. Those are the first things about him. Left winger and playing in Sweden. I look at his stats from this season. Maybe for context, let me start by his stats for 2022. 2022, he played only 12 games. He scored 1 goal and no assist, right? This previous season that just ended, he actually played 30 games, scored 10 goals, assisted 10 times. And if you see a player like that, guys, how do we even go about and think that a team who get a player who's contributing to them that much will be willing to sell a player? Because their season right now is kind of off because there is it's preseason, and it gets cold in Europe at this time. So their season is only reopening on the 27th of January. So I really don't know how it makes any sense for him to leave that team, because also his contract ends in 2026. So it's not like he's not getting enough game time. 30 games in one single season and contributing every, because 20 goal contribution in 30 games, that's a lot of contribution, and I think it wouldn't make sense for him to leave his team currently. And let me read some of the comments as well. Now Usebili Letave is saying, what's good news, bro? I don't think there are good news in this. I think it's just a link, Tashreeq. But with the other links, with the other people who are on this list that we are going to go through, I don't necessarily think those ones are not linked with Chiefs. But this Tashreeq Matthews one, it does seem a good player, but I don't think Chiefs are actually going out to sign him at this current moment. And then let me look at other comments. Like the video, by the way. It's hot. I'm sweating. Now Usbonel is saying, love you, Mpilo. Keep pushing. Tanko, bro. And then Skau is saying, come on, gents, like the video. It's free. It is free. It is free. 43 viewers and only 13 likes. And then Robert is saying, my brother, I'm still wondering who's gonna be the bomb coach because our team is full of tada all the time. Yeah, Ngampela, you know that's also a thing. We're going to get surprised. I think Chiefs might surprise us, but they might not surprise us when it comes to the coaching issue. Because the way that it's going, I will say this. I think the way that things are going right now with the Chiefs, I don't think they have a coach they are looking at as a proper replacement of Funsegi. I think what's happening right now is they've settled with Johnson. And at this current moment, Vele they will not tell us Suguti they are going with Johnson. But to me, it seems like that's the choice that they've picked. Because if it wasn't their plan to make Johnson a coach, then they would just bring another coach who would take over and take the team between now and kind of make the next 6 months his own preseason. Because at this point, then the coach would come in, then he would be preparing for next season. But what they've done at this current moment is they've actually said, you know what, we are making Johnson audition for next year. So either way, it's either Johnson auditions and is successful in his audition, and then next season he becomes the permanent coach. Or if it doesn't succeed, then they are bringing in another coach in June. So a new coach depends on how Johnson does. If it does well, he stays as a coach. If it doesn't do well, then they will say Vele, he was an interim coach. So for them, it's a win-win. And that is why I always say that it Chiefs, when it comes to controlling narrative and looking good and being the ones who are in charge, why should men be what we are in charge? When it comes to being in charge, Kaizer Chiefs knows how to do that really well. So I think that's exactly what they are doing. So let me read another comment. Okay. Where is this? It's commenting. Khosi Football Club, Charles Kumbi. And then Usbonelo Ngiti is saying, Pilo, is it true that Mfundo signed for the first team? Nansi indaba ngomfundo Vilakazi. Mfundo benodona Jansen. Both of them, they've apparently impressed the coach. Like who wouldn't be impressed by Mfundo Vilakazi, right? So they've impressed the coach, right? So since they what's this thing? Since they have performed well in the TDC, right? So now they've been not necessarily officially promoted, but they are training with the senior team. They haven't signed like senior team contracts, but what they have done is they now train with the senior team. But since like Utuba, you remember what happened to Utuba last season? He was never officially given a senior team contract. He was still a TDC player, but he was being observed by the senior team coaching. And then they looked at him and they were like, okay, he's not scoring or he is not ready yet. So then they just sent him back to the development again this season. So same thing with Umfundo. Umfundo futhi ke naye useze washo ukuthi yena himself personally he thinks he's ready for the senior team. And there are different opinions. Mina ngomfundo Vilakazi, I will always say this. Umfundo Vilakazi is a very good player, and if Kaizer Chiefs were playing well, I would say he's ready to be in the senior team. But the problem is you can come from development being good and then get to the senior team, and the problem is they're not playing well, and then you end up being drawn down with them and you end up not performing as well as you would want to. So that's the only risk. I don't want that boy's career to be destroyed because the senior team is bad. So agabe corner around the senior team angena amagame when the Chiefs is winning, and it doesn't have to be a savior, which is the same thing that happened to Duduzi Shabalala. So yeah, And then Robert is saying, but why do they always fool us and say they are linked with so many coaches knowing they are lying? Indaba ilawo na Khosi Robert isekutheni the problem with not the problem. Kaizer Chiefs is a brand enkulu kabi, and if you attach anything to Kaizer Chiefs, then you're gonna get attention. And some of these things, it's easy because you know how that coach, the Callisto Pasua, the one from Zimbabwe who was linked with Chiefs, it wasn't even like Uguti Chiefs started chasing after him. It just started with a guy who was having an interview, and they asked him, Kaizer Chiefs need a coach. What do you think the situation? Blah, blah, blah. And then it goes, you know what? Callisto Pasua would be a good coach for Kaizer Chiefs because he's done 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now, since that guy who's a former player has said Callisto Pasua would be a good coach for Kaizer Chiefs, then that's how things start. Because now, if our post is going to write that, oh, we had an interview with this guy who said Callisto Pasua would be a good coach. So Kala Tuma will pick up that interview and say, highly rated coach linked with Kaizer Chiefs. But he was not linked with Kaizer Chiefs. And then there would come YouTubers like me, and then we'll say, you know what? They have talked about this coach. So since it's in the newspapers, let's talk about it. That is why I always make a strict and a very specific distinction that I am not a news a journalist. I don't report news. I just bring things that are already on papers and discuss them with people, which makes more sense when we're doing it on a live stream, because then it's clear. I am clear, and I say it again. I'm not reporting this. I'm saying what is written in the newspapers, because if Ilatuma is unreliable, it is unreliable, yes, but at the end of the day, they still say these things and people talk about them. So if other people are talking about them, why not us? Why not this channel? We might as well, right? So yeah, Kaizer Chiefs is a brand, and people want to do those things. And let's go back to the list, because we have not gone to the list. The other player who's linked with Kaizer Chiefs at this point in the list, I just did the most Zulu thing there. Is the Stanley Nwabili, the goalkeeper, because once again, that position of a goalkeeper, it becomes controversial real quick once you mention Itumeleng Khune, because people assume that the moment you say buy another keeper because Khune is retiring soon, because the team has said so, people will jump on you and say, "Yay, winner, you hate Khune." Why would you say that? I think for the comment, Upene Martin is saying, "Awempilo ikosa liphela umoya, awe Khosi." Charles is saying, is it a good or bad thing that our players are not in Bafana team? It's a bad thing. Like, we can spin it around. Since you've brought it up, Charles, it's a bad thing that a Kaizer Chiefs don't have any players in Bafana squad. It's horrible, because that's reflecting that the players that are at Kaizer Chiefs are not better than the players at Sekhukhune, because if Unyiko Mobi is getting called up to Bafana, that means it's better than Rifrosla. If I know Terence Mashego is just called up because he plays for Sundowns, but if Umtao is getting called up, that means Ushland is not doing good enough. If another player who is being called up and Usbong Senemteto is not called up, that means there are other better players, because, okay, we can say Vele Umkwena has been starting, but Umteto, the injury affected him because now he's on the standby. But you look at all these other players, we can say Avelu Bruce Naukechi at some point. There were some players that he selected that he shouldn't have selected. But at the same time, there are a lot of Kaizer Chiefs players who Vele, like Kaizer Chiefs players, did not deserve to be in the national team. Like the one player who I would say I feel bad for is actually Umteto, because he's been playing well, getting called up from Stellenbosch to the national team, and then it gets to Kaizer Chiefs, and then it stops happening. So that tells you, Guti, what are we doing to players? Because even Usbong Senemteto, who we were highly rating, right? We were highly rating Usbong Senemteto for a very long time, and then all of a sudden it comes to Kaizer Chiefs, and now people are questioning his abilities, like within months of joining Chiefs. So that tells you that there's a problem with our system. There's a problem with us and the team developing players and making them better. So even with these players that we are linked with in this long list, the problem is that you are linked with all these players and they are currently playing well in their teams. Then they come to Kaizer Chiefs and then all of a sudden they become bad players overnight. And then you ask yourself, is it always the players who just become bad at Kaizer Chiefs, or is it Kaizer Chiefs who are actually bad and they are making every other player who comes to the team bad? I think it's the latter. Kaizer Chiefs are the ones who are making teams worse. Even Umart is one player who was very good at Sekhukhune, was running things for them. He comes to Kaizer Chiefs, he doesn't look anywhere near what he was at Sekhukhune. What happened? Like Baning Abadlali, there are a lot of players who have lost their ability to play well, because what happened is the fact that we're a team that's not playing well, and every player who comes in ends up not playing well. I'm interested to get your views. This is for you to engage. Let's talk. So let's talk about the goalkeeper, because right now the keeper who's linked with Chiefs is Stanley Nwabili, and right now he's currently with his national team. So what is happening is that he's with his national team. I think it's from Nigeria, right? And I said this because I made a video about it, and I thought, I don't think it would make any sense for Kaizer Chiefs to sign a foreign goalkeeper, because if you're signing a goalkeeper, they might as well be South African, because the foreign sports, this is not being xenophobic or tribalist. The foreign sport, it's about foreign sport. You have only 5 foreigners you can sign in your team. So you cannot give that to a goalkeeper who you'll probably sit on the bench. If you want to do that, if you want to use a foreign sport, use it for a striker, use it for a winger, use it for someone who's going to be a starter. That's the let me put it that way. If you're going to use a foreign sport, it must be for a sure player, someone that you are sure, okay, we need a left back. So we go out, we sign a foreign left back who's going to come in, play as a left back, boom, done. Don't sign a person who's a bench in. You can't sign a prospect like and say, oh, this guy has potential, but he's from Zimbabwe or he's from Nigeria, because before you know it, then they don't get game time, and then they just wasted a foreign spot. So if you're signing any foreign player, they better be starters in the team. Otherwise, you've just wasted a foreign spot. And another weird link that has been made with the Chiefs, which I don't get. I will tell you now. How is Chiefs linked with Bradley Cross again? Because he went to Kaizer Chiefs, he did his trials, and obviously they were not impressed, and then they let him go. So now, why would Chiefs go after a player who they saw Guma trials that he wasn't good for them? Someone could argue that, but Mpilo, it's possible that they want him now because they've seen how he has played for Arrows. But now he has a contract with Arrows, and that means we'd have to pay money to get him from Arrows. And we also know that Chiefs and Arrows don't have the best of relationships. So I don't think that would make sense. Back to the comments. Maxwell is saying, hi Mpilo and the Khosi Nation, I hope this thing that our players aren't selected from the national team, it's gonna benefit the coach to have a proper preseason. Exactly, Maxwell, exactly, because you see, that's the one thing that we can look at and say, wait, so none of our players are in the national team? Oh no, we need more time. Mate, you have the entire January. January wonke with every player. I do not want to hear an excuse of we just need more time. What more time do you need? Like, you've been with the team, I think it was September, was it? Yeah, because in October, I remember we're playing Arrows, and that was the first game that Kevin Johnson coached. So around October, you were with the team, Kevin Johnson. October, November, December, and then you will have the team the entire January without a single game. I do not want to hear anyone. I do not want to hear the coach saying he's not ready, he needs more time. No. after this transfer window, all I'm waiting for, after the Afcon, all I'm waiting for is Chiefs to be taking names. If Chiefs are not winning after the transfer window, then there will be a clear indication that Johnson is not good enough for the team, because you can't tell me that you're going to have a full preseason with every player, because the only player on with Chiefs right now is Udove with Mozambique, and Mozambique is not going to I'm sorry to say this, Mozambique is probably not going to make it out of the group stage. Like, let's look at their thingy. I want to look at Mozambique's group. I think I will read right now the group that they're in Mozambique. So if we look on the table here, network is on it's now not 5G as young papel. But for example, in Mozambique today, they are playing against Egypt, right? So they are playing Egypt today, and in playing Egypt, they're probably gonna lose that game. So here's their group. There's Cape Verde, there's Egypt, there's Ghana, there's Mozambique. So out of that group, it's only gonna be Egypt and Ghana, unless they are the third. They have become third and they do better than all the other third. But still, you are missing one player from your preseason. So you can't tell me the rest of the players will not do well. Also, I saw that we preseason, Luke Flus is also there already. So we have Luke Flus, we have Ungob who can play in the Dove position, left center back. You have Msimango available, you have Frost, you have Solomons, you have Slanted left back, you can even Traumashana left back. Your midfield, all of them are present. You have your strikers, everyone is there. So you're not gonna tell me here that you did not have enough time. Yeah, so yeah, Maxwell. Upen is saying, I really wish we can give Janssen a chance. Yeah, Upet boy. Upet boy, because he was one of those players who did not show up to who did not want to be ball boys. I think he would do well. I think he would do well because he can. Yabo, a winger who can score goals is very good, because they are not predictable. Ne? Because I think one of the problems that we had with Khota last season was the fact that he had become predictable. Like, he's going to try to go outside of you and cross the ball, and defenders always anticipated that, and that became his downfall. So I think that we are unseen as a person who can score could be a good thing for us. And then J23 is saying, Mina, I want Hannah Moop and a creative number 10. Good one, cause Ranga needs a creative ball supply. True, Yaz would benefit Ngempela from you know what? Can I say this? I don't think I've seen a lot of people saying that they think that we are not good in the department of creativity. I think personally, creatively, we have players who can do that. I think Umshini is a very creative player. I think Umatlo can do that job pretty well. The problem is, how are we set up? How is the system at Kaizer Chiefs? And is the system conducive for Umshin to collect the ball in the right spaces? Because I feel like Maubugi midfield Chiefs, just watch them play. Like, I think the TV buing ayenzi justice. Mange stadium, mbabukela abantu ukuthi Umshin ulapha, uMart ulapha, Umthetho ulapha. They are just all over, scattered apart, and because of that, they cannot connect and combine. They are too far apart. Sometimes you are asking Umar to be the widest player, Ashimbo swing. It's not his fault, it's the system. Sometimes you have Umtetwa is the fattest man forward. It's okay, defensive midfielders can go forward, but sometimes he's leaving too much space. Again, that's not his fault. That's what the system demands. So I think that we can bring Abo Hanamu, we can bring whoever. If the system is not sorted, then it would make a very difficult thing for Kaizer Chiefs. Because, as I said, another left back who's linked is Faust Pasadine, but now Sundowns are looking to hijack that move. Not really hijack, because it's not like it's our player or anything like that. And then Hanamup, as you said, is also another link. So essentially we're linked with, I think it's 4 left backs. Here they didn't write to Koboloke Sibande. They wrote Bradley Cross, Fawad Pasadine, Rian Hanamup. So Bradley Cross came to Chiefs, did trials, did not succeed. Hanamup, contract yake is expiring, and there are some people who are suggesting that he's a citizen now because he's played very long time in South Africa. So that makes him a better target than any left back, because Pasadine is gonna be expensive. Bradley Cross, it's not gonna happen. And then if you think of Koboloke Sibande, he's risky. Left back, yes. We need a left back, yes. But Koboloke Sibande is kind of not in a situation where he can come and play for Chiefs, since he's not starting regular games for Stellenbosch. There is load shedding here in 18 minutes. So we'll try to wrap up the stream in the next 10 minutes. Let me read a comment before going to the other names. The other comment is from UJ23, is saying, hopefully Jansen will fix that. We are tired of this rebuilding. Oh, Johnson, you're talking about Johnson. Hopefully Johnson will fix this. We are tired of this rebuilding nonsense. You know, Vele, when we're talking about Vele, the health of the club, it would make sense if Johnson does well and then they keep him, because, well, it would play to what they're saying. Like, we don't want to change things way too much. So it's just that I have my doubts on Johnson. I think I've made this known to people that the problem that I end up having, I end up having is, if the coach does not have the right mindset, then I worry. And I know it's one match that I keep on referring to, but when he approached the game of Pirates with fear, I was so irate, because the derby means more to me than any other game in the season. The stadium, it's the only game in South African football where the 90,000 seater stadium, FNB, is full. Like, imagine that. So when on that day you choose to be defensive, I didn't like that. Next name is Unhlanhla Mkaka, another. You know, when we say all these players, because they are looking at strengthening the attacking part of their team. You have seen that the team has a good defensive midfield. Now they want to balance it with an attacking midfielder. That's why they are looking at Nhlanhla Mkaka from Stellenbosch. At this point, one of these days, I swear, I tell you, you will hear that Kaizer Chiefs are buying Stellenbosch. Because how many players have we already signed from Stellenbosch? And already in this video, I've already talked about Fawaz Pasadine being linked to Chiefs. I've already talked about Koboloke Sibande linked with the Chiefs. And and now Nhlanhla Mkaka, an attacking midfielder again, linked with the Kaizer Chiefs. It gets ridiculous at some point, because it feels like every good player who's playing for their team ends up being linked with Kaizer Chiefs, or specifically in this case, any player who's doing well for Stellenbosch ends up being linked with the Chiefs. And that's like, oh, guys, come on. Because you look at this season, what justifies Nhlanhla Mkaka being linked with the Chiefs? This season, let's look at the numbers. 12 matches, 0 goals. Like, how are we justifying bringing that player to Chiefs? What has he done that is making Chiefs say, oh, we want Nhlanhla Mkaka? It doesn't make any sense, right? So it doesn't. And the next player is another attacking midfielder, which is Uspesihle Maduna, and this one has been linked since I was in Indonesia. You remember doing a live stream last year? What was this? Yeah, around Feb, March last year. Yeah, I was still that side, and we're already getting linked with Abo Uspesihle Maduna. And to me, it doesn't make sense. Again, why would you get a player who's not starting for his team to play for Kaizer Chiefs? It's another level, and you must be on another level already, because if you are going to come to Chiefs and you are already comfortable sitting on the bench at Amazulu, what are you going to do at Chiefs? Because it's going to be a higher paycheck, which means you are going to be even more relaxed, be like, I'm getting 100K each month. Why would I care about trying to play? Because it's sometimes it does feel like they're too good. These players get to Chiefs and you feel like they are too relaxed. They are too relaxed for their own good. And I don't like that. I genuinely don't. Another comment, who Avela is saying, because Avela is saying players come to this team and disappoint. We have so much going wrong in our environment here. I no longer get excited with new faces in Nampil. I think we agree because well, what's the point, right? Because even Modi, like it was pure determination. Because with the passing of his mom as well. But now there was like a deep, understandably so, the mental struggles of losing your mom. I cannot imagine how that feels like. But you look at other players who are not Pulemont, who did not lose their moms, who are just fine, got to Chiefs, got comfortable, and we're like, oh, we actually thought you were good, and then all of a sudden they're not doing anything. Then Velubon fam. This is not it. This is not on at all. So it does get disappointing, but what can we do, right? What can we do? And that is why when I call Simina, I would always say to you, until the system is fixed, nothing and no player will come to Chiefs and transform the team. Because what they will end up doing is exactly what Billiard was doing in the COVID and the 2018-2019 season, where they have glimpses of individual brilliance, and you're like, oh, Toli, or oh, Billiard is doing so well, or Nukovic is shining. But the moment other teams figure out that player, then Chiefs no longer performs. So that is why I don't think that it makes any sense for Chiefs to keep on buying these players for this expensive amount of money or give them huge sums because you think their individual brilliance is going to help the team. I think the starting point would be, if the coach is right, then everything else will fall in order, because then the coach will then organize and make the system proper. But if the system from the coach is not proper, then it doesn't matter which player you bring. They're always going to end up looking average. So that's my thing. Next player is Usbusiso Kala is saying, below my pro awe Spuda. Umbongwa Kwanele is saying Kaizer Chiefs has a lot of fan base. Thus, it would be difficult for players to acclimatize. Mteto will shine at Chiefs because he gives us his level best. Exactly. It's this thing that I was making a comparison with Upule Modi Guti. Umodi lost his mom and his form kind of dipped a bit, but then he recovered and then he came back and all of a sudden he was shining. So that was clear. Uguti, the guy is in a humble shading in sense of it. It's clear Uguti players with good mentality will acclimatize even though it's difficult. But it's not an easy gig ukudlalela Chiefs. Kunzima nje ukujwayela the environment, because you are moving from playing, no offense to Polokwane City, playing for Polokwane City, game is barely watched by 100 people in the stadium, it's just empty, niyezwana man memezana, it's like during COVID. And then you play for Chiefs stadium, every game at least 15,000 people in attendance, although for a nation that says we're a football nation, 15,000 it's still low. But if you compare that 15,000 to 150 people watching Sekukune play Amazulu, then it's much better. It's like, it's not even 10 times better, it's 100 times better. So all of a sudden you are moving from 150 to 15,000. That's different. That's going to be difficult for any person. So it definitely isn't an easy gig. And those who will shine are the ones who are like abomthetho and abopulemont. Next one, Upene Martin saying, Pilo, our system, how is Johnson doing, or is it just the same? What is your take on how we're playing under him? You know what? You know what we will say about Johnson is that what has been able to do is that under him there are some players who have done really well, but the system has not improved, in my personal opinion. Because you look at how we survived against Swallows, right? How did we survive? Because Uprusevum was making good saves. How did we survive against in the recent game, Sekukun? Again, Vuma made good saves. Polokwane City, sort of the same thing. But if you look at the other aspects of the game and you see, are we creating more chances now? No, we're not. But what have we done? Umodi has gotten better. Ifomiyaki is scoring. Aliko equal Kaizer Chiefs even under Johnson, whereby we just played the ball from the back, we tore the team apart, and we scored. There is no such. The goal that we scored, Umshini scoring against Richards Bay, it was they were dispossessed. Umar wins the ball, he passes to Umshini. Umshini takes one touch, he shoots. Individual brilliance. You look at Upule Modi, the goal that he scored, once again, it was him scoring against what's this team? I think it was Polokwane City. Individual brilliance once again. You look at the goal he scored, Uranga. Again, that's him taking a good shot. There has not been a goal this season, even under Ukavin Johnson, whereby we've torn teams apart or we've torn a team apart and we've gone to the other end and scored a goal. It hasn't happened. So to me, that is what I'm saying. I want to see how things are going to happen after this break, because I haven't seen massive improvement except the individual players who have stepped up and taken responsibility. And because of that, we've started winning games. Because even if you're going to say defensively, we haven't considered, I will just point out and say, Ubvuma made the difference. Because even under Coach Johnson, what happened is when he still fielded, who's this keeper, Peterson, we considered a goal and then we ended up losing against Arrows because of his mistake. So what has changed is that the goalkeeper has changed and we've done better. So that's me. Umsa is saying, I heard that Chiefs is looking to sign coach from Zim Pasua. Yes, they are. I made a video about him. Yeah, they are linked with him. But he himself has said that Chiefs have not made any contact. His agent said the same thing. So I think it's just a link. It's not solid enough. Uwanele is saying, Khosi Nation, what would happen according to your point of view if we play Sahel and Shini as our number 10s and up front play Modi, Ranga and Dupreez? Yabo Ukwanele Ulokunja Uranga is not as, I mean, who's this guy? Usaile. Akiri said Sahel. Sahel is not a central player. Uding space because he's not a thinker, right? It's not even an offensive thing to say, maybe it is. But Usaile is not a thinker. Like his decision making is so questionable. So playing through the middle would be like shooting ourselves in the foot. Because my toli polo Usaile ulbugala and then we are lap. Agabont kwenzagalan around here. Now that's why even when he cuts in from the side, it's better because he knows he's trying to cut into goal and try to score. But if he's playing in the middle where there is already congested space, it won't work. Look, every time he's been played as a number 9, how he has done. He hasn't done very well because he does not know how to do when he's playing through the middle. He's just a person who prefers to run on the side and play the ball from there. And then Uspongobuku is saying, Sahile goal against Cape Town Spurs, look at the touches. Okay, ngiyakuzwa lapho wesibongobuku. Ngizol check. But then again, in that game where we were playing against Ilokunj, remember ukuthi even under Unseg, there were games where, like against Stellenbosch, we combined a bit and then we ended up scoring that screamer mode. But how many times does that happen with Kaizer Chiefs, right? How many times does it happen? Because you look at the Chiefs and you see that, wait a minute, actually, we do have some brilliant moments, but after 10 games. And that will happen because they are professional players. At some point, they have to do it, right? They have to combine at some point. So for me to say they've improved, I want to see that consistently happening, like 2 games in a row, and then let's say they combined and then they missed a chance. But we're not combining and missing chances. We're just missing. We're not even getting to that point. 3 minutes. Let me read 2 more comments because there's gonna be load shedding just right now. Jay is saying, let's wait and see what Johnson does when we return because he's hiding behind needing more time. Now that high getting, let's hope he's cooking. You and me both. I'm hoping the same thing, Guti. He's cooking as well in the holiday season because he can no longer, after this break, hide behind not getting enough time. And then Usanele is saying, no, Mpilo, they need to go back to that Sangoma Onyanga and bring back the thing they used in order to best them to winning the game. I don't know whether it was Muti or what. The club was well run then. The club was well run. If ukhona umuntu ebholeni bewusebenzisa abantu nami ngadlala ibhola wasetshenziswa umuthi, but ekugcineni kosuku if a team is not playing well, umuthi I feel like we are enhance. It just enhances what is already happening. And then Usbusiso is saying I can't comment negative about our strikers because they are lacking supply. Johnson find his form by making a combination of the so-called strikers. I agree. And then Bongani is saying, hi Mpilo, watching you from Asia. Oh wow, Bongani, nice. Nice to be watched by someone who's 6 hours ahead. Let's be practical. Can you name one player in the current Chiefs squad with the likes of Spio Shabalala? There is 0, my brother. There is 0. I won't even try. Bakhona bane potential, but they are not there yet to do that. And then Sibongobuko is saying, honestly, Thabo Notata would improve our midfield a lot as we're undermining him. But looking at the way he's playing for Cape Town City as an aggressive number 8, play both roles with experience. The quality is not the problem. The problem is the team. It comes to Chiefs and then all of a sudden he looks average. Uzingongile is the last comment who's saying Johnson is totally not good for senior team. He's too relaxed. We've been saying this thing, but we want coaches who are players are going to feed off their energy and say, you see this coach can die for the team and the players can feed off of that. But I haven't seen that from Johnson. But hopefully we get to see that in the next half of the season. Guys, I'm about to have load shedding, but thank you so much for joining me. We'll end the video here. The other names, I'll just make a separate video about it tomorrow because we have run out of time. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy. And stream. Yes.